What's up, everybody? Todd here from the Duderes, and this is Anime Overload, where we're going to be talking about the most recent and hottest topics in the anime community. And with us today are two very awesome and special guests. It's HungLikeAZombie and Pervy Fatman.
Yay!
Woo! Hey, what up? What up? So today we're actually going to be talking about something that it's certainly hot, but it's not the most positive thing in the world. Funimation has recently come under fire from one of their simuldubs. Prison School, one of Funimation's summer acquisitions, has been undergoing a simuldub. In one of its most recently released episodes, one of the characters brings up Gamergate and uses it as an insult, which has been a very controversial gaming topic for the past year. This has caused fans of the anime to become divided on whether or not it was okay to use. Tyson Reinhardt, a writer, voice actor, and script adaptator for Funimation, revealed on Twitter that it was his idea. Since then, he has been both supported and harassed by Twitter users. Fellow voice actors from Funimation have also showed their support for Tyson, including such popular actors as Joel McDonald, Alexis Tipton, Jamie Marchi, and Monica Rial. They claim Tyson was justified in his decision. Tyson has tweeted other users his opinion as well, and some of the things he's said have been far from mature or respectable for someone of his stature. So, that is the deal. Before we actually talk about it, I'm going to show a super quick comparison clip of the Japanese dub and a fan translation of what it's saying as compared to the Funimation dub.
うちじゃ珍しいタイプの子だな。
なんであんたがこんなところにいるの？うちの男子って全員プリズンに入ってるんでしょ？
裏生徒会の用事を頼まれて出てきたんだよ。
さっきからタメ口聞いてるけどさ、私2年だから目上には敬語使いなさいよ。
うるせえ。
どうした？顔が真っ赤だぞ。
真っ赤じゃねえし。
ああ、生意気だね。パイチラくらいで顔真っ赤っかのくせに。
はい、見てねえし。
アンズ、プリクラ撮ろうよ。今行く。いつでも相手してやるよ、後輩。私、ここのナンバーワンだから。じゃあね、後輩。
入学してから女子とあんなに話したの初めてだな。あの女。
Seems a hell of a lot cooler than the rest of those stuck-up chicks.
So what exactly are you doing here at the arcade? I thought all of the boys were supposed to be stuck in the school's prison.
I was asked to run a couple errands, not that it's any of your business.
Whoa, pump the brakes, Arthur Fonzarelli. Have you got a stick up your ass? Or are you one of those dumbass Gamergate creep shows?
You're, what?
You alright? Your face is turning red.
No, it's not.
Take it easy there, Tiger. It's natural to get a little excited by cleavage.
Nah, I wasn't looking.
Anzu! It's photo booth time!
Just a sec. I'll take you on any day of the week. Guess whose name is number one? See you around, Slick.
I haven't talked to a girl that much without getting smacked since I enrolled. Or ever, really.
So, that was the comparison of the two dubs, if you will, the Japanese and the English. So, how do you guys feel about that? Let's start with Pervy first. What did you think?
Well, trying to keep a calm collective here. Really, that whole situation, it's really not it didn't need to happen. It really didn't. It was a poor choice on a lot of people's parts, mostly Tyson's, but there was poor part on everyone who let that go through and thought that was an okay thing and that needed to, be in there or not. Unfortunately, because of this now, there's this whole big problem, and it's just a mess, and I really didn't think it needed to happen, but I mean, there's not much else I can put to words without, kind of going off on a tirade, so.
Okay, well, Zombie, what are your thoughts?
I would probably have to agree with Pervy here. I don't think it was the smartest thing to particularly say, just mainly because it had been a hot topic for such a long time. And, now it's cooled down to a point to where no one, not necessarily everyone cares about it, now. But now, since obviously it came back up in this, we're like, geez, really funny? did you really have to put this in here? I thought we were just about done with this. I think,
Yeah.
I really think that's where a lot of the hate came from, like first reactions and stuff like that. I think that's why people were mainly upset. But
Yeah.
as you said, whoever this one guy's name is, I can't remember his name.
Tyson Reinhardt.
Yeah, Tyson Reinhardt. He himself hasn't carried himself very well, and neither have the fans. So I think they're both at fault, but someone of his stature, I don't think he really needed to say what he had been saying. But, I mean, come on, guys. It's internet trolling. All you gotta do is just fucking ignore it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to point out before we continue the conversation that we definitely want to try to treat this topic with, the utmost respect and consideration for both sides, and try to look at it at multiple perspectives from both Tyson's and the fans, and people from the outside looking in. That's definitely what we were trying to aim for, is try to make a respectable conversation about this without trying to make ourselves look like jackasses or that we support one or the other.
Right.
If you want to look at it this way, Tyson, for example, claims that this is artistic freedom, that he is not a translator, he is a script adaptator, which allows him to adaptate it for English listeners. Because, I mean, let's all be frank, we've all read, subbed anime, and we all know the Japanese language, I would say, and how things work, and Oni-chan, and all that other stuff.
Of course.
The Oni-chan's the only thing I can think of. It's like, if you translated that directly to English, it would be awkward.
Yeah,
because
it always comes across like there's a lot of the times where you're hearing like dub. They will say like Chan or San or something. It'll come across really weird coming from someone who's not of the Japanese descent. But
yeah, like in Persona 4, if you ever play Persona 4, they say you like Yuki-chan and Chie-chan.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's stop saying that.
Yeah, I've played the arena. I know.
So yeah, please go on.
But I mean, calling it an artistic freedom is kind of a stretch, really, because I mean, again, taking it from both sides. To be fair, sure, you could call it artistic freedom, but again, it's on another side. It's not your work. You had no right to change it. So, I mean, I think his thing was it fit the flaps, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's artistic freedom, and they also Funimation voice actors and him would also like to justify that, like I said, artistic freedom, but also prison school is, and I think we could all agree, is probably one of the most crazy, offensive, weird, out there,
definitely
inappropriate things that we've ever seen, and we've seen some stuff.
100%.
So they would like to justify it using that. It's like, oh, so you're offended by one sentence, but you're not offended by someone peeing on.
Well, I mean, are the people that are sort of offended by the sentence itself because it references such a legitimately dumb thing that happened on social media and everything else that was with it that brought in like people that weren't exactly very good people, very nice people, that brought out like a lot of bad times on the internet that a lot of people didn't like exactly.
Yeah.
And with that, but there's also the people that care about the direct translation too, because to be fair, if they translated it the way it was supposed to be, because I specifically do remember the scene that was in, it was, hey, I'm your senior, you at least show me a little bit of respect. Now, if they translated that over to here, that still would have definitely made sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I could think of multiple different ways of how they could have changed it differently. Hey, you could, I'm older than you, treat me with respect, you little shit, or, something like that.
Yeah, that would have fit perfectly.
Fit the flaps, yeah.
Right.
Honestly, my opinion about it, I really don't know all that much about Gamergate. I've read some articles, I've read some forums and some threads and seen some tweets and, so on and so forth. So I feel like I have sort of a decent grasp on it, sort of. So I'm really not one way or the other. I'm just one of those guys that I'm just excited to play a video game. I don't care who else is playing it. You know, I guess that's just me. But with that, personally, I really don't think the line was in good taste at all. Just because, you know, Gamergate was recent, and, you know, there was a lot of people affected by it, and good or bad. Some people were harassed, some people were, you know, even more than that, and I just don't think the line was really needed. It just, I mean, and even just from someone who watches this from a story aspect of the show, and I'm watching it, like, the first time I heard it, I kind of took a double take at the television, like, what? Like, this is so awkward. This doesn't even sound right.
Yeah,
and that's kind of like my impression of it. It just sounds so awkward in the script. Like they put a wedge in there. They're just like, let's fit it in there. Kind of thing,
like,
you know? It just didn't fit.
It didn't fit the scene. It really didn't.
It didn't. It's like,
I mean,
what?
I get it that, you know, it was in an arcade, blah blah blah, but it didn't fit the scene at all, really. I mean,
I don't know. It's just, it's not like the character Shinji was like, you know, I hate that you beat me in a video game and you're a girl. You know, he didn't say anything like that. Then the Gamergate thing would have been more relevant. But yeah, it just seemed so awkward.
It did.
You know.
yeah,
And
definitely.
and personally, you know, I have loved Tyson Reinhardt's stuff for a long time. His voice acting, I'm not really sure all the projects that he's worked on. It's probably a numerous amount of things. He's probably been really funny at, you know, a lot of the things that I don't even know he's written. But, you know, I've really enjoyed his work, you know, up to this point. But, you know, I just really think this was kind of like an iffy thing, you know?
Right. I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah. So, any other thoughts on that before we move on?
Well, I mean, within that, I mean, to be fair, both parties are, like I've said before, I think both parties are at fault. I mean, the fans, you know, I understand you're fans of that, but you go out of your way to attack somebody and, you know, start harassing them and saying that they, you know, should, you know, lose their job, or like he shouldn't be allowed to work in this business again, blah blah blah. You know, that's taken a little bit too far. Like, you know, don't just tell them like, hey, I disagree with what you did, and I know you probably don't like that, but I have my own opinion, so there's not much to that. And it's still, even with that, I mean, he specifically, Tyson, was kind of wrong in handling how he handled it. And to be fair, I still think some punishment should be dealt out, but not, you know, him losing his job. I mean, it should just be enough to where it's like, hey, maybe I shouldn't do that again.
And that's pretty much the next topic I was going to talk about. Some people are actually saying the Gamergate thing is now not even relevant, just because of some of the things Tyson has said to fans. And personally, as someone within the community, as someone who does things in the community, like what I'm doing with my channel, you guys do something great with your channel. You guys constantly go out to different conventions and talk to different fans. We're all very deeply ingrained in this community that we really care about. But Tyson goes out of his way. Obviously, he's probably angry and stressed out at some of the things that people have said to him, which I don't really blame him, because there probably have been a number of things that have been terrible that people have said to him. But, you know, for him to say something like, who would have guessed that the guys who couldn't get a girlfriend would be a part of the show's demographic? Like, that's really offensive, you know, to someone like myself, you know, like saying that we're losers, or we're social rejects, or something of that nature.
Yeah.
And I actually agree with a lot of the people that say this is kind of the real problem now.
Yeah,
like I said, I really enjoyed his stuff, but now I've lost a lot of respect for the guy just because of how he's handled this situation, and now he is subsequently biting the hand that feeds him.
You see, and like when you guys had told me this, like a few days back or whatever, I remember you guys had told me, and I was almost kind of like dumbfounded. I was all like, "This dude really said this?" I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
And so I almost didn't believe it at first. I seriously didn't.
yeah.
And
Well, that was the same with me too. I was like, what? He said what now? I was like, I'm sorry.
I mean,
Why did Funimation let him say that again?
I mean, obviously it's his personal Twitter account, but I don't think it's far from the truth to say that isn't he a part of
I
this
mean,
community? I mean,
yeah,
is he not a nerd? Is he not somebody who likes anime?
Right,
I don't.
I
You know,
agree.
I mean, he works for one of the biggest companies in the United States for anime wise to bring over Japanese and the dub anime and bring it out here for us to buy and support the industry. But when you go out of your way to do say the things to the fans, as a response to what they've said to you, I mean, you could have handled that situation definitely a lot better. I mean,
yeah,
I'm. I
exactly.
mean, I. It's a whole thing of you're working. You do your job pretty much. Do you don't blow up on people on Twitter like. I've seen to where a lot of people do get fired for what they say over, their social media accounts about certain things, and because of that, they lose their jobs. And
Yeah,
that's not one of the things you want to happen, because especially when you're working for somebody like Funimation, who's really good at what they do, despite all the rumors flying around about them, but they're really good at what they do. They put out anime, they dub it. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but hey, there's a reason they're the biggest company in the States right now, and
yeah, yeah. I mean, Funimation, I'd like to compare them like as the pioneers of the anime industry in America. They're the ones who
I would agree with that
have,
for right now. I would.
yeah, I mean, I think they've done a number of things that other people have yet to do, which includes simuldubs.
yeah,
That's a huge one. Like, that's one of the biggest developments in years for anime. And like Aniplex has followed suit, or at least sort of like a pseudo, with Durarara, with its season 2,
yeah,
with all its different arcs that have been coming out. They've released it. I think for both seasons, they've released the dub while the sub is still going on. Like episode 6 or 7, episode 1 of the English dub is up. Like that's pretty much on par with Funimation. Um, so yeah, Funimation are definitely pioneers, and Tyson Reinhardt is like I really enjoy his voice acting, and he's one of the writers and adaptators that does that for a living. So, which is why I stated earlier that someone of his stature to say something like that, honestly, like I said, he's probably justified in his anger for some of the things that people have said to him. But if I were him, I would really keep my mouth shut, not only to keep my job, but just out of respect.
Yeah, man, I completely agree. I'm totally uncalled for.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's one thing to say, hey guys, I get it, that you're mad, but don't say, haha, you're mad. Quit being loser virgins. It's
yeah, yeah,
Like the thing that I personally think he should have done, is either been like, hey guys, this is just my opinion, and like this is how I wrote it because of this. I think he could either done that, or if he still wanted to get in at like a little bit of how people were, a little bit of like taking like these insults out of proportion. I mean, like he really could have just said, "Oh well, guys, just try harder." Just something
yeah,
of that sort. But to say what he said, I agree. It's totally uncalled for, unprofessional,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you made a lot of people mad, including me.
Yeah, and honestly, and I hate to say it, including me as well. He's offended me, and I hate to say that because again, I enjoy his work, plain and simple. But the things he said are just offensive, and honestly, in my personal opinion, I did not like the choice of using Gamergate in that dub. It just doesn't make sense. In its context, it seems very awkward and forced as a written line for a character. Um, and yeah, and another thing that I kind of want to point out is that I really want the voice actors of Funimation to stay out of it as much as possible, so they themselves don't come under fire. For
Exactly.
example, I love Alexis Tipton to death. She's a sweetheart. I met her in person. One of the nicest people I've ever met, and she's been arguing with people, and I'm like, I don't want people to hate them. I don't want them to possibly get in trouble with Funimation as well. Same with like Monica Rial. super
I
huge
love her,
sweetheart.
man.
I've never
Yeah.
I've never met her, but she seems like one of the nicest people, and I've only seen her tweets. You know,
She's
I
really cool, but I mean,
Yeah.
And her voice is really nice too. Well,
yeah.
I mean, like, what do you call it? Honestly, I could see to why these actors have, like, come over to his side because, like,
Not only did they work with him, they're also friends with
right,
him.
exactly.
Yeah.
I could see that 100%. But I myself haven't seen exactly what they've been tweeting though. But being on his side, I could, I see it. And I'm just gonna leave it at that for that part.
I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword because it's like you want to support your friend, but you're also supporting a problem. So
Yeah.
it's a double-edged sword. I mean, I kind of mentioned this earlier podcast, but if you weren't a part of the show, you really shouldn't be a part of the problem.
I agree.
I mean, if
Kinda
if you didn't voice in the show, or if you didn't have anything to do with the show, I mean, I understand Jamie Markey. She was in the show, and she helped. I guess
she was one of the writers.
Yeah, she helped write
She
it.
wasn't the one who wrote the line.
Yeah,
that was confirmed on Twitter.
Yeah, so I mean, to be fair, I know you're friends with them, but let's not push the issue here and make yourselves look bad. I mean, there's an issue here that needs to be dealt with by maybe the heads of Funimation, the head of Funimation, whoever. Maybe they need to sit down, have a talk with Tyson. Do some have a meeting or something about it, and say, hey, let's not let this happen again.
Something needs to be done.
Let's take a step up here and address it both personally to Tyson and then to everybody else, pretty much everyone in the company at this point. You gotta say, hey, you can't do that. Let's not do that because we're trying to get our fans to be still our fans, so they will help support us. Because without fans, I did not mention this on Twitter, but with what's been going on with Funimation, the constant delays and the rumors that were flying around with the workplace and just all sorts of other things, it's scary to think about one of the biggest companies for anime in America being like this, because it's a place to where you think, hey, if you want to be like a voice actor, Funimation is the place to go, because amongst other budding companies like Sentai Filmworks and with Aniplex and just being other things. I mean, with Funimation, that's the one place to be if you want to be a voice actor. But if the workplaces say that bad, or if they do that, they let people get away with things inside the company, then something obviously wrong here that needs to be addressed. And again, I'm surprised that actually Funimation hasn't stepped up and said something about it via social media, or they haven't addressed it as of yet. And I'm actually very surprised by that, because usually when it's a big problem like this, it gets addressed immediately. But seems like that's not the case for them now. It's like it's not that big a problem as of yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it really, when I think about it, with how much is gone on, I almost feel like they're gonna rewrite it for the release.
I mean, I hope they do, because that would take away a lot of things. But I also feel that if they did do that, then Tyson would probably no longer be a part of Funimation, because he would probably quit. Because he still thinks it's artistic freedom, and that's fine or whatever, But that's my guess, is that if it's pretty much like, again, a double-edged sword. If if they change it, then he might quit, or if they don't change it, then people are gonna stop buying their stuff. It's a double-edged sword.
I'm definitely in support of artistic freedom and the ability to make what is pretty much this bare bones, stiff sounding script from Japanese to a more relatable and understandable English script. I absolutely support that. And, I bet it, and I'm not going to sit here and say that's easy work. It's probably really hard work, really creative, hard work. But but honestly, they really need to, kind of think before they do it. I mean, this was obviously a big controversy that included threats of, life and death, of other things, and, people were affected in so many different ways, good or bad. Some people came together to support others, and some people were in it just to watch the world burn. And it was in the demographic of what this anime was for. So when you think about it in that respect, and this just happened over the past year, it was controversial, it was in the demographic, and it just happened. Is that a really smart thing to put inside, a script? It's kind of like if there was a gun scene and a lot of people died, and they said something about like the Baltimore riots or something, Like, do you really think that would be like a tasteful thing to put in a script?
No, it wouldn't be.
And some people might say those don't correlate. Well, they honestly, they do make sense. They're both controversial. They both have to do with young people, and millions or hundreds of thousands were affected. So, honestly, I just don't think it was a smart decision by Tyson to do that. I would hate to see him leave, but at the same time, he's upset me to the point I don't really care if he leaves anymore or not, because that it was just how he handled the situation was what really got to me, not the Gamergate thing itself. I could really care less.
Yeah, I mean, he could have handled the situation better. To be fair, I mean, Funimation should speak out on it as well, but they've yet again not addressed a great concern. The last thing that they've actually addressed that was a big concern was Tokyo Ghoul Season 1 getting canceled / delayed, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. And because there's something wrong with the art on the actual Blu-ray release or something, it came out shoddy or something like that. But that was the last great concern that they addressed. Now that this has popped up, I think it's time for them to step up and say, "Hey, we're going to address this. We need you guys to sit here and listen to us here real quick." Put out a video, bring the head of Funimation in, sit him down in front of a camera and let's have him address this. Because this is a thing it's sink or swim for Funimation at this point.
Which is scary.
Yeah.
Like I've explained to you before, it's a scary situation because Funimation is such a huge, unbelievably important part of the industry and the community that we really can't afford to lose them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no other way.
Yeah, I mean, because
we can't afford to lose Funimation.
Without Funimation, then anime in America is deeply in trouble, because that means, definite higher prices.
Aniplex and Sentai have to step up.
Yeah, they have to step up. They have to start licensing a lot more things, and if the things don't work out, then they're going to start going down, and it'll just snowball. I mean,
Sentai has gotten a lot of excellent titles over the past 6 months.
That's something I'd like to actually discuss about in another video, that Sentai's literal rise to greatness has happened in the past 2 years.
Yes.
It's been incredible. But do you guys have any final thoughts about this before we go?
I think what has needed to be said has been said.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all we can say, and, let's keep our fingers crossed and hope Funimation can address this.
Exactly, Funimation, don't drop the ball.
And with that is our video, guys. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening to what we have to say about this controversial and awkward topic, to say the least. And this is also the part where our guests on the video explain who they are and where we can find them.
Hey guys, what's going on? I am HungLikeAZombie. I am 1/4 of the Mahou Shoujo Defense Force. Guys, make sure to follow the Mahou Shoujo Defense Force on Twitter. Make sure to follow me at HungLikeAZombie on Twitter. Make sure to check out our YouTube also at, I believe it's YouTube/Mahou Shoujo Defense Force. We'll put a link in the description, or Todd here will. Mm-hmm. And you're up next, Pervy.
Alright, and I am Pervy Fatman. You can find me on Twitter at Pervy Fatman. If you're interested in this sort of thing, I have a blog over on WordPress where I'm doing reviews and for both anime and video games, as well as just sometimes social commentary. Pervy's Corner of Thoughts.wordpress.com, and that's it.
Yep. We will put all those links in the description below so you guys can find them if you'd like to follow Zombie and Fatman in any of the things they have to say. So, if you'd like to follow us on Twitter and Facebook, we do have Twitter and Facebook links down in the description below. If you'd like to follow us for all our updates and fun other cool stuff that we talk about on those social media accounts. If you liked the video, feel free to give it a like. If you want to see more stuff, subscribe to us. It always helps, and seeing subscribers come on makes us want to do more stuff. And I would like to thank Zombie and Fatman for being here today, and because I always appreciate them hopping on board for fun little talks.
Oh, thank you, man.
For having us on here.
Yeah, no problem. And this is Anime Overload. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later. See ya.
Peace.
Peace.